Hey guys, this is Laura from Starship Media, and I'm honored to be here with
Andy Karl.
Yay! So we have to start off by congratulating you on your Tony nomination.
Thank you very
number
much.
two,
Number two.
and your Outer Critics Choice Award.
Yes. Tomorrow I actually get the award, and I have to say something. I have no idea what I'm going to say because I don't think I've ever won anything as far as in the theater, which is great. Outer Critics, that'll be my first one. Number one.
Yay! And Tony will be number two.
That's
We're hoping. We gotta knock on wood because always.
My hard head.
So what was your reaction to the Tony Award nomination, and how did you find out? Some people watch it on TV and be like, sleep in.
I watched it. The first year with Rocky, I went to the gym, as you can imagine, because I was sort of like putting my mind out of it, but then New York One was everywhere in the gym, so I kind of watched it just by being there. This one, I think I was too tired. I'm taking it easy this year. I'm like eating chips when I go home and relaxing. But I woke up and turned the TV on, and they made the announcement. It was very cool. And Bruce Willis announced my name. So.
That's like.
And didn't Rumor Willis just win Dancing with the Stars? Hey, I know so many things in pop culture. No, it's CNN Mobile. That's where I get all my.
No, that's awesome. Like Rocky nominated, and then you're lifting weights. I got a Tony nomination.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. It's pretty much like I was like, got another set to do. Okay.
Now, do you mind, some people may not know who's watching this, about the show you're in on the 20th Century and the character you play?
Actually, we just did a performance, so you're catching me post-performance. We just finished about a half hour ago, so I wiped off the mustache. I had grown an actual mustache for my character Bruce Granite on the 20th Century, because he's he wants to be an Errol Flynn type, and if you don't know what that is, he was an actor from the 30s, and he was just like a great movie star, and I'm sure every movie star that wasn't as big as him wanted to be him, and that's what I think Bruce Granite really wants. He wants to be big, and he follows Kristin Chenoweth's character, Lily Garland, because she's very famous at the time that they meet, and he grabs onto her coattails and tries to hold on for the ride because he wants to climb that ladder more than anything. So. He becomes her boyfriend, and that's basically how you meet him in the show. And there's a few people who don't want that to happen, and you'll see that.
Yeah, wearing that white jacket. The costumes are awesome.
William Ivy Long is so good. I actually wrote a song for him. I don't know if you've seen Bustle Fluffer, but I did a William Ivy Long song. We haven't filmed it, and I really want to film it. But it's hopefully that'll be coming out soon. But he created these amazing costumes, and he's also nominated for a Tony as well. So he always makes me look good. I've done 3 shows now with him, and Drood, where he's made these awesome costumes for me, and on the 20th Century, and 9 to 5 was the other show he did. That was wonderful.
Now, I didn't see the original production, but how did you modify the character of Bruce for your own personal, or for the revival, I'm saying?
Right. I didn't see the original company, but I know Kevin Kline. He's incredible, and if you watch any of his movies, you realize what a comedic genius he is, on top of being a great actor. So I knew going into it, I'm going to have some physical humor going on, and I think that's when Scott Ellis, our director, cast me. He knew I had the chops to do that. I just didn't know how far I'd have to go. And you saw the show. I'm climbing on everything, and, doing all sorts of silly bits, and that's my show. My show is a checklist of bits. But coming off of Rocky, I still had the Rocky physique that I worked very hard to get. I was trying not to hold. I was still trying to hold on to. So I'm using the guns in this show as much as I can, and they get a laugh. So as long as I get a laugh, I'll keep going to the gym. I hope they're not laughing at me, but.
Now you're co-starring with the wonderful Kristin Chenoweth, as we mentioned before.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And your chemistry on stage is amazing. How's the bonding experience, and how did that, what has it been like working with her? Because obviously she's a Broadway bombshell.
She's so cool, and she says all the hype that you've ever heard about Kristin Chenoweth, she deserves it, because we first met, when I first got cast, I had never met her before. And I was kind of scared. I was like, man, this Kristin Chenoweth is real.
Yeah.
She's a star. She's got great comedic chops. She's got an incredible voice. I hope I can match up to that or live up to that. And as soon as we met, we looked at each other and were cracking jokes at some event on the 20th Century, and we had already we went on the stage together, and it had already become magic at that point. But that's how she makes you feel when you're cast with her. She is a friend to everybody. She doesn't put up a wall for anybody, and that's kind of fantastic. It's a real tribute to just her personal attributes. And when she's on stage, she will do anything for a laugh. So that my job was already done there. I was like, what if there was actually one time during rehearsal, I was like, what if I throw you into a wall? Wouldn't that be funny? I'll pick you up and I'll throw you into the wall by accident and we'll laugh about it. We tried it out and it didn't get in the show, but talk about
just like
a diva who's I can pick her up and throw her into the wall. She's totally fine with that. So we've had a really good time, and every day we just check in with each other to see how well the bits are going. It's a great pairing.
Awesome. And okay, this is a little longer. After some less free-flowing roles you've had in the past where you may have not had as much comedic freedom, like such as Rocky, do you enjoy that aspect of Bruce where you can just throw some slapstick and clever gigs in there to get some laughs, like you were mentioning before?
All this, all the stuff I do on stage and on the 20th Century is basically what I do backstage in other shows. I'm always cracking people up and doing stupid things. Now I'm literally putting all that on stage, so it's kind of all those things I didn't get to do in Rocky thrown on stage that I was doing backstage. But with every character I do, I always try to find some sort of sense of humor about that character. They may be really not so likable character, like Tommy DeVito in Jersey Boys is sort of the villain of the show. But I knew for him to have that much power over the group, he must have been a charming guy and had a sense of humor. And so I really utilized that as much as I could, as well as being manipulative and controlling. So pretty much with every character, I try to find a sense of humor. Even Rocky had a few lines in there where I could work that angle. Now it's just comedy, which is tough. It's tough. So.
And the crowd always laughed at the Crunch Me with Kristin Chenoweth. You literally, your size difference is hysterical.
It's already funny when we walk on stage and she's 4 foot something, I'm 6'2", and I'm picking her up and throwing her around, and it's already a gag as just looking at the two of us. But as soon as I come over to her and she's like, crunch me, we came up with this whole bit of, I'd squeeze her and she'd, it'd be like, all the air would come out of her body. And so she does spit takes, and, she's, it looks like I'm pulverizing her, but, I'm actually very careful. She can break, I'm sure. But we have a good time with that. It's really funny.
And your other Tony Nominee role, we were talking about, Rocky, seemed to have kept you in pretty rigorous workout regimen, but you still show your strength. You're bench pressing Kristin Chenoweth. Was the physical aspect something brought into the show because you were cast as Bruce, or was that in the original production? Do you know?
I don't think it was in the original production. That's ours. That's Kristin and ours. We worked on the physical humor. There's a lot of we touch tongues and do the crunch me's and she's wearing a nightie and I'm barking like a dog and crawling. She's jumping on my back. I think a lot of the big physical stuff is Kristin and ours invention. I know the original company had there was funny bits and things like that. I think we might be a little bit more physical. I might be wrong about that. I didn't see the original company, but it just seems to be a real crowd pleaser when I'm either getting hit by something or I'm throwing her over my head.
Yeah, lots of doors. Yeah, lots of doors land in your face.
Yeah, I think when Scott cast me and Kristin and I got together, it was sort of apparent. Let's go for this physical humor, and I still had a few muscles left from Rocky, so I'm trying to put them to good use. I'm still hitting the gym. It's not as easy to keep the weight off though.
I know. There's Shake Shack and all those schmackers.
Yeah.
Now the show is obviously so funny. Do you have a favorite moment of yours performance each night? Mine is awesome, and the cast album just came out. So
the cast album came out, and working on the album was fantastic. I do have moments in the show where I sing, and I'm singing like F sharps and G's and stuff like that, which is I hit them, but I hit them quick, and I get out of there. I don't have very drawn out songs, but mine is one of those times where I'm a duet with Peter Gallagher, and he and I just praying in the mirror the whole time. So it is a lot of fun. I have fun with pretty much everything I do in the show. So picking something that would be perfect, I think. Do you know Sean Hayes from Will and Grace? He was Jack in Will and Grace, and he did all the physical comedy stuff in Will and Grace, and he came to see the show, and Kristin knows him, and he actually gave me a bit to do, because he gave me two things to do that he thought of when he was watching. I was like, oh, what is it? He's like, you have to come in a third time when you're taking the pictures. Like, you'll never see this face again, slam. Or this one, take a picture, slam. And the third one he thought of. Or these, where I have like a big roll of photos of me, because it's very, he's very much himself. And that's the third bit. And comedy really happens in threes that way. And he saw that, and he gave that bit to us, and we put it in, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. Now, On the 20th Century takes place on a luxury train ride from Chicago to New York. Have you had a crazy travel experience that comes to mind?
Yeah, on a train?
Or like any travel experience.
Crazy travel experiences. Let me think.
No, yeah.
I mean, I drive a lot of times when I'll go down to Philadelphia and I'll drive. It's always like that. And I'm a pretty good driver, careful driver. Trying to think of anything that's happened that's been crazy on a train. I've never been on it. There was one time I ate some olives on a plane ride, and they weren't good, and I was sick for 5 hours going to Las Vegas.
No, that's awful.
It was one of the worst things you could ever, like, it hit me immediately, too. I had some olives at the airport, and it was just not good.
Yeah, that's never
Things
fun.
You shouldn't do on a plane.
On an airplane. Now, your fellow nominees, if you could switch roles with any of them for a week, what would it be? Switch roles, yeah.
Of course, I haven't seen anything.
Oh, yeah, because you do.
So I have no idea. I'm sure they're all having a great time. I did just do a reading with Brad Oscar, actually. He's so funny. He's literally sitting down with these people. I was sitting in between Brad Oscar and Brooks Ashmetkis, and the two of them were cracking. I was cracking them up. I just love that sense of humor, and there's so many guys on, especially in this category, Christian Borle and Brennan and Max and Brendan. Brendan. I'm going to say the name right. Make sure they get them all right.
Brendan.
Brendan. So it's just, I just like that, Brad Oscar, Christian Borle type of humor, and I've been able to, work with them for small amounts of time.
Yeah, no, something wrong is pretty. You gotta go see all
of
them.
I can't
wait. Make your own.
July 19th we close. Get a ticket.
Now, let's say, hypothetically, your two most recent characters, Rocky and Bruce, went to dinner together. Can you explain what that might be like?
Wow, that's a good question. So Bruce would just be preening his head around, trying to get noticed the whole time. Rocky would be sitting there eating everything, just everything in sight. And
with his turtles?
Yeah, with his turtles. And yeah, I'm sure Rocky would kind of be, I don't know if it'd be bored, he'd just be kind of out of place. He wasn't very comfortable around people who were like massively famous, but he was always humble and really nice to anybody that was sitting there, who would be sitting with him. So yeah, it would be a totally awkward meal. I can see it now. Bruce would have the lobster, Rocky would have the steak.
Fair enough. Now, on top of doing On the 20th Century 8 times a week, I've heard you like to write music. Do you plan on releasing an album or any music on iTunes, YouTube, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few things on just on my website and stuff like that. I have songs on my website, but there's a couple of videos that I have on the website as well that are part of the YouTube thing. My next thing is the William Ivy long song, if I can get it together before July 19th, but I literally have no time. So. Yeah, I keep writing and releasing anything. I just sort of, for me, it's like I'll just release what I can because I write very silly songs. I don't have record deals or anything like that. But I write musicals, and I've been working on a couple of different ones, and I'm just gonna keep trying at that. I have some prospects that might happen, so I'm just waiting for that.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's
now
nice.
A few quick questions. Secret talent.
Oh, secret talents. I can build things. I'm like I have a carpenter's type of, like my father was an appliance finisher, but he also did a lot of work. He built boats and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's a talent or a skill.
That is
but I know my way around a tool shed.
Now go to karaoke or cover song. I don't know.
What
karaoke. What would be
song?
your go-to karaoke song?
Oh man, I always choose a Lou Rawls. You'll never find. Anything you can sort of have a good time with.
Oh.
Cheesy, also with a good tone to it. But I've been known to do some Creed. I've been known to do some Sinatra. Probably more of a Sinatra tune, I don't know, or do something like It Had to Be You with Harry Connick Jr. I used to worship the altar of Harry Connick Jr. when I was in high school.
And who would you want to play you in a movie about your life?
Brendan Fraser. Somebody asked me that a long time ago, and I was like, Brendan Fraser. If he and I were of the same age, that's he's. I would watch Brendan Fraser in Bedazzled. Do you ever see that movie? You got to see that movie.
I haven't, but I'll go read it.
Because he does all these different characters. And he's so good. He's so funny. But he's done so many other great films. He's a great actor, and just. I have a feeling that's a kinship in my mind. We'd be best of friends if I knew who he was.
Most embarrassing moment on stage mishap in any show.
I mean, you can pretty much choose anything in this show because it's almost like the Carol Burnett show in here. And Carol Burnett came to see the show 2 weeks ago, and she loved it. So
that's good. Okay.
Yeah, if Lily will. Kristin will feed me grapes, and one will drop on the floor, and I'll eat it off the floor, and the audience just kind of crazy like that. Or, there's the picture doesn't stick sometimes, and it falls, and I'll make a bit out of that. And so, with this show in particular, if something goes wrong, it's better. It's almost like we know what we're doing, and then if something goes wrong, we can sort of respond quickly to it, and that's the kind of stuff that keeps you on your toes. And that's I guess something I learned over the years of doing theater and working with great casts like this, that you gotta be really quick. You gotta be quick. I'm not as quick as I should be sometimes. I really wish there's things that happen 2 seconds later. I'm I should have said that. That would have been hilarious. But this cast in particular is really good with mishaps. So I'm sure there's more to come.
And if you could relive any moment in your life, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I had some really tremendous moments. I still have things I want to do, so I feel like I'm always that person that kind of wants to go forward. I feel like if whatever happened, happened.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my wedding was great with Orphe. We eloped in Miami, and we had a great time. That's always a good one. And I guess getting that first Tony nomination is pretty cool, pretty amazing last year, and that's the thing I love about this year is that I can look at it and I can look at people that I know who were nominated for the first time, and I saw them get their certificates at the Tony luncheon and stuff, and I remember how that felt. You had something in your hands to sort of. It's real. It's something like that is real, and I know how that felt. This year is more like getting to see all that, through the eyes of someone from last year.
Speaking of Tonys, give us your I just won a Tony Award face. Andy Karl.
Andy Karl, you just won a Tony Award. What? Really? Are you sure? All right.
And any last things you would like to say to your fans?
To the fans, I owe so much to the fans of Broadway, and that's kind of what I've been thinking about with any sort of award or speech or anything I have to do with is there's no there's no me, there's no theater without, you know, your audience and your fans watching. And so much support has come my way, like so much support has come my way from people in the audience, but also colleagues and, you know, people like Jerry Mitchell, or they, you know, send me flowers. It's like, it's kind of really, really lovely. So I'm just so appreciative of you coming to see theater, which is, you know, keeping theater alive in New York and throughout the world, and B, you know, coming and laughing at anything I do. I mean, that's the whole reason I got into theater in the first place. Is I said a line in a high school musical once, and I got a laugh, and I was hooked from then on. And so to hear it still to this day is kind of, you know, my joy.
That's awesome. Now, thank you so much for
Thank
chatting
you.
with us.
Of course.
Go pick up the cast album for On the 20th Century and buy your tickets before July 19th, correct?
July 19th, our last show. Come see it.
Yay. Thank you so
You will
much.
see it. You will see it.
Listen to him.